We're putting this to the test.
That's it. We're going to see how strong a fine vacuum is.
That's right.
So we've got the hose draped over the top of the thing, and we're going to see if we lower the table, if the hose will
It's
really...
hard to find a flat spot here, Ken, but I think I
But
got
there's
it.
plenty of skin. Okay, I'm going to balance the blimp.
All right.
Okay, go ahead. Drop the
All right,
table.
There we go. Whoa, look at that. Whoa, look at that.
Look at that. It's holding them up. Who thought it could be done?
Is that a strong back or what? Holy smoke. All right, get me down. All right, very good.
All right.
Excellent. Excellent.
Now, that made good commercial propaganda, but you know, you'll probably never figure out how that happened. What are you doing there? Well, go ahead and turn off the vacuum.
All right.
Oh, while John's taking care of his problem there, Vince, let's come on over here.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, come on over here, Vince. We have, you can actually go around front. I'll work from in back here.
Thank you.
We have quite a few different tools here that Fine manufactures. This is the Multimaster.
The Multimaster, probably the most successful product we've ever marketed in this country.
Okay, and this, we did a whole segment of a show, actually a big chunk of a show on this tool.
Yeah.
I don't know, probably a month or two ago. And this thing is amazing. It does everything.
Most revolutionary tool to come into the power tool world in the last 40 years.
Okay, and now this right here is
It's a nibbler. It's an 18-gauge nibbler, and this thing, in various forms, this is the latest generation of it. We've been selling to the metal building industry for 40 years too. It's just, it's a warhorse. It's the fastest nibbler made in the world.
Okay, so that's another interesting tool by Fine. This right here is the router manufactured and sold by Fine.
Yep.
These you can get you can get these from Specialty Tools.
Yes, you can.
They're and it's basically on a clearance deal. They're $200. They're a phenomenal deal. 3¼ horsepower plunge production router.
Yep.
It's probably the cheapest plunge production router I know on the market.
It's a great router.
You know, once again at a single price of $199.
Can't be beat.
This is an interesting little monster here.
This is one of the most unique tools, revolutionary tools Fine has developed. This is a magnetic core drill. It has a 2 1/16 inch capacity with an annular cutter, and it only weighs 28 pounds. Typically, a drill in this category is pushing 35 to 40 pounds. This thing, because Fine makes such a great tool, they're able to cut the weight down, and it only weighs 38 pounds. It also features their quick-in technology. So if I want to change bits from one size to the next, I simply twist this collar, slide the bit in, and I'm ready to go. I can change cutters in under 2 seconds.
That is an incredible tool.
Yes.
Interesting reservoir in the back.
Yep.
That's for oil or?
Cutting fluid. When you're drilling holes of this diameter, there's a lot of heat buildup, and you have to keep these bits cool to maximize their life. So you feed fluid through here, and it comes down the center of the spindle, and then as you're drilling your hole, this feeds back, and the fluid automatically drips down to your cutting surface.
Are you feeling better? It's sure nice to see you guys.
I think I got a hickey on my head. My wife's going to ask me where I've been.
What's that all about? You've been hanging around with Steve again, haven't you? Okay. This right here is for buffing out metal.
Yes, for stainless steel finishing. We sell a lot of tools to put any finish anyone wants to put on stainless steel.
Okay, and that's fascinating. And this right here, this is our pro athlete Multimaster.
Yes, it is.
In other words, it's on
steroids.
No, it's on enhancing.
Yeah.
Enhancing vitamins.
Yes.
Like
all by
Viagra
prescription.
or like stuff like that.
No, we're thinking like vitamins that make you stronger.
Oh, okay, all right.
This right here.
It's bigger. It's the same basic action as the Multimaster, except the tool has about twice the power and a little more aggressive oscillation. If it is for the professional.
Okay, but really for most people, even professionals,
the Multimaster does a great job.
Yeah, it's really what you want.
Yeah.
You really don't want to get too crazy there.
Yep.
And this is an old standby right here.
Yes.
This is a
8-inch random orbit sander.
Okay, and this has been in the stable at Fine for
goodness, probably 7 to 8 years. It's been around for a while.
Been around a long time. I know there's an awful lot of them in the field.
Yep.
Because you see a lot of 8-inch sandpaper sold, and the only tool that I know that takes it is the Fine.
That's correct.
So
for
I know
production applications, it's a good machine.
a very popular tool. And then this one right here, and we'll just gather this up and take it over here to the bench.
Sure.
Can we, I believe to quote
Actually,
Gene
we
Wilder
need to-
and Young Frankenstein,
we need
would
to-
you elevate me?
Yes, I will elevate you if I can find. Oh, there it is. Okay.
A great movie.
Gotta go back.
Young Frankenstein.
Yes, it was. It was a
Here we
great
go.
movie.
You ready?
Okay.
You ready?
Wow.
Such power.
Magic.
And it's
Such
amazing
power.
how you know your alphabet.
That's right.
Okay. Oh, don't make it difficult. I mean, don't make it difficult for yourself. This is fine for everyone else, but for the weed people, it's not really good. Okay.
All right.
Now
I'm just going to hang out over here and watch.
We have the
you, okay?
midget master here.
Okay.
Okay. This tool now, once again, this is the 6-inch
Random orbital
fine
sander.
random orbital dustless sander.
Yes.
Dustless. There's just a lot on a tool like this. Now the cord on this is
16.5 feet long. The
which
same
matches
as the hose.
the hose, which we're going to talk about that hose a little bit more because the hose comes two ways. It comes as a anti-static hose.
It's all
Oh,
of them.
oh, it's only
all of them are
anti-static. Okay,
That's right,
so
yes.
it's
Weren't
all
you paying
anti-
attention in the lecture?
No, I was not. Thank you very
Okay,
much. I
all
was
right.
asleep in the other room.
That's right.
Okay, so they're all anti-static hoses.
Yes.
And the reason for an anti-static hose is
To stop
another softball.
dust from collecting on the inside of that hose and loading it up. And it also reduces the chances of getting shocked from the work surface. It's not completely anti-static. There still can be a charge built up in a surface, but it greatly reduces the chances of that happening.
You handled that much better this time. Okay, now on this tool right here, tell me about the power of this motor.
It's a 380 watt. The power is 380 watts. That's 3.7 amps.
Do you need to have a seat and relax for a minute?
No, I don't.
Okay. Okay.
I couldn't speak for a moment.
Yeah, John has that effect on a lot of people.
No, wait a minute. I'm up on the table. My hands are right here where you can see them.
But it still scares me. Whether I can see him or not, it still scares me.
Speechless.
But I see we got a little grease.
Anyway,
He brings his
Oh
own
my
grease.
anyway, back to the tool here. Which we're
Well, I'm
talking
not
about.
even.
Focus. Ignore him. I've mastered that over the years. Just ignore him.
Okay.
Now the switch on this, it's really interesting that it's protected. Is
It
that
is.
so it doesn't get damaged from banging around?
So
Or?
yeah, when it gets dropped, when you set the tool upside down, you don't accidentally engage it. But it is a locking switch. So when you slide it forward, you don't have to touch it again until you're ready to shut it off. You have to manually shut it off. You don't have to keep your hand up here and keep pressure on it.
Because I know on some tools that I've used, they have switches, and if you bump them, they automatically release, and it
Yep.
powers down the tool, and it's irritating.
Yes, it is.
So that's a very good feature. Now, the body on this tool, here, I noticed metal here and here, but I know from our earlier discussion that the whole body straight back is also housed in metal.
Yeah, there's an internal housing that this plastic is molded around that is aluminum. So basically, the very back end of the armature, that bearing runs in the rear seat of this aluminum housing. This intermediate housing is bolted into that aluminum. Our gears, our spiral bevel gear set, is a solid steel gear set that rides in this second housing, which supports that bottom bearing. So in essence, our entire drivetrain and power is transferred from seated in metal and
Seated in metal
driven
again.
through metal. Yeah.
So all the energy is actually housed not in plastic parts,
In
and they are
metal.
not themselves plastic, so they're not damaged by torque stress.
Exactly.
The energy is able to be dissipated within the metal, so it substantially extends the functional operational life of the tool.
Correct, and makes it much more repair friendly should it need to be repaired.
Okay, that's
Also,
really
this also
positive.
keeps it much cooler. I noticed that when we were using it yesterday, a lot of sanders, with that palm action get really, really heated. And with this one, if you hold it properly, you don't feel any temperature at all. There's a little bit up here transferred through the metal right at the bearings, which would have to be, but the way this is designed, the way you grab it, it's cool all the time. It's really nice.
We have an interesting question from Mike in Blacksburg, Virginia. Is the motor on the sander sealed from dust?
And the answer to that is yes, as best you can. It has special bearings in the motor. It has extra epoxy on the armature and the field coil. And the switch is a dust-proof switch. That, does not make it, you can't make it entirely impervious to
Right.
dust. The best thing you can do to stop dust from interfering with your tool is use dust extraction with it.
Okay. And another thing we used to do with our guys in the shop, we used to tell them at the end of the day, just blow the tools
Exactly.
out.
Every day.
And if you do that, then you're going to substantially increase the life of the tool. Jorge Jimenez in White Settlement, Texas, says, how long will a sander last when used on solid surface? Now, solid surface is one of the hardest things on electric tools.
Exactly. I cannot speak about other manufacturers' tools. On our tool, I know of a few people that have had sanders, and they obviously are doing necessary maintenance, changing bearings when necessary, keeping some bearings greased, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But you can get 10 to 15 years out of a sander.
Jorge is actually over there.
Sorry.
Now, as far as
next time, could we move the speed? That would help.
Now, as far as maintenance, it's really the brushes, and they're easy to get at just by the removing of these.
Those two screws you can get at the brush and the switch. The
Then
switch
does the unit
isn't
just slide
up here.
back?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it just lifts.
Now
off.
I'm intrigued.
Oh, it lifts off. Okay,
I'm
great.
intrigued. Why did the manufacturer use one slotted screw and one Phillips screw?
Can't begin to tell you.
Just one of those things that kind of jumps out at you.
Yeah,
It's like, why
it's-
is that like that? Who made that choice? That's interesting that you.
That's to make sure that you don't remove them accidentally.
Yeah,
That's it. Yeah, you got to really be on top of it. Okay, but back at it. Now the dust collection attaches to this port right here.
Correct.
Probably
yes.
just pull that. I think they want to get that rope out of the
Oh,
way. It's
is it?
hanging right
Go
there.
ahead, pull it right
Yeah.
up.
Can you?
This was so.
There you go.
There you go.
Oh,
There
now
goes
we
the
A little
lost
bit more.
the
Little,
light.
there you go.
All right,
Okay.
we lost one of our lights when we did that. Oh well, that's the way things are around here.
The one of the really interesting things you told me is this port can be moved in
90-degree increments
around the body, so that you can port it in any direction you want to.
Yes.
And it's as easy as taking out four screws,
moving
turning it, and tightening the screws back down.
Yes.
So that's a great feature. Now I'm intrigued about this.
Yes, the sander comes with a rubber boot. This rubber boot serves two purposes. When your sanding pad is on the machine, it acts as a brake. So it will sit on the very back of your pad. So when you turn the machine on and you set it on your surface to sand, it's not free spinning at a very high rate of speed. That reduces the chances of you gouging the material when you start to sand. Then when you're done with a particular grit or pass of paper, when you lift the machine up, it's not free spinning at a radical speed, and it minimizes the chances of distorting that surface at the end of the finish as well. The interesting thing is, while you're sanding, this does press back enough and you get a completely free spin in either the right or left direction, a true random orbit sander. The other purpose of this boot is if you were going to use this in a shop and you have a centralized dust collection system, they can generate huge amounts of CFM. Enough CFM so this pad will be sucked down
Yeah, it would be sucked
to
up.
the surface and not free spin at all. What you can do is you can loosen this clamp and just simply work this up with your fingers, and that creates an extra quarter-inch gap between the pad and the boot. More room for that air to draw through so you maintain your free spin.
And that you would typically use if you're operating on a central vac system.
Correct. That's the only time you would really adjust that.
Because the vacs aren't going to be strong enough. So for the
That's
vacs,
correct.
you want to let it operate.
And I'm a big believer in using it as a brake to make it easier to lift and set this machine back down on your surface.
Okay, that all makes sense. Now the inside of this, I notice is
Yeah. With this machine, this eccentric is orbiting 7,500 times a minute, which is the fastest orbits per minute in the market. It also has a 5/16 of an inch stroke, which is the highest stroke on the market. You have to go to pretty great extremes to counterbalance that so there are no vibrations felt back in the machine. So this is a machined chunk of metal. A lot of manufacturers will add weight to this very haphazardly with screws and things like that. This is precisely machined to match the stroke and the RPM with a prescribed weight of the pad.
okay. Now we have a question from Sam in Stockbridge, Georgia, and he says, my friend owned a fine sander, and his warranty was only good if he constantly sent the tools in for maintenance. Is this still the same?
No, we have a new warranty program in place. It's called the 1+2 warranty. It winds up being a 3-year warranty for you. When you buy the machine, it comes with a standard 1-year warranty. If you send the tool or if you register the tool online at our website, it's very simple to do, you will automatically receive an additional 2 years of warranty. So it is a maximum 3-year warranty, or it can be a maximum 3-year warranty.
Okay, and really the only maintenance part that's obvious is really the brushes for the most part on most of these tools. And the key is, I noticed
you have to
John
do this.
has
We're going to see what the grease is for.
But
I thought we were going to do that after break.
no. But this is just a matter of taking this tube, squirting it right into there, and putting just a dab about pea size in there.
Pea-size drop in.
And then you just take this and
spin it on.
You take
Where is that grease going at that point? It's not just lubricating those threads.
No, it goes into the threads, and then as we spin the pad on, that presses it down into, there's 2 bearings in that eccentric, and that presses it down into those bearings and lubricates.
Well, that's pretty simple maintenance,
It is
especially
simple maintenance.
For as much as one of these can be used.
Yep.
We need to go to break, and when we get back, we're going to talk about
The
this
dust collection, yes.
neat dust collection on the this new pad.
Yep.
All right, great. Well,
All right.
We'll see you in just a
We'll
minute.
be right back.
Thank you.
SpecialtyTools.com would like to take this opportunity to unveil our boldest new venture, epitomizing the glorious traditions held so dear by craftsmen throughout the centuries. Our informative and enlightening seminars represent the pinnacle in only the most professional of productions.
We're back. Oh, I'm sorry.
We're just waiting on you. Tight, not forward. Whoa! Look at that. Works fine.
Actually, John, this is a shop cloth holder.
See, I told you he wasn't real bright, folks.
It's one of those clamps in our line that we've had for a long time, and it has its uses, of course, but especially
Last week.
No. Chris said we did that for the promo. We're going to drop this down. I'm sorry, folks. This is for laminating plastic laminate.
We started out with a dog and we ended up with Chihuahua.
Yes, like Santa.
and I look like a fool. Have a little shame.
Drop it in the water.
Are we going to go off?
I'm sorry.
I hate my job.